everyone. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. Welcome back to The People's Mandate, a special series within Growing Up in Korea. You might be surprised to see an audio version uploaded along with today's post. Based on some wonderful suggestions I received, I'm combining them from now on to make this easier for you to digest. A huge thank you to my subscribers who always give me such great feedback. It really helps me improve. Just to be clear, this podcast isn't just me reading the essay word for word. Think of it as a commentary track or a conversation where I explain the stories in more detail and add some extra context. And as always, if you have any feedback or thoughts, please feel free to reach out anytime. I would love to hear from you. Alright, let's get started. Last week, we talked about the garrison state. We talked about how the military regimes turned schools into barracks and gave every citizen a barcode in the form of an ID number. The bars were invisible, but the locks were everywhere. But today we are moving from the body to the mind. We are going to talk about how two dictators, Park Chung-hee and Chun Doo-hwan, tried to DJ the soundtrack of an entire nation. It's a story of a too prolonged attack. First, the iron fist of censorship. And second, the velvet glove of seduction, known as the 3S policy. Get ready for a playlist of band songs, state-sponsored erotica, and the greatest political magic trick ever pulled with a baseball bat. This is the Dictator's playlist. Let's rewind to the 1970s. President Park Chung-hee is in power. His philosophy on culture was simple. Culture isn't for fun. Culture is for national spiritual reconstruction. 국민 정신 개조. Basically, if it didn't make you want to work harder or hate communists more, it was suspicious. Long hair on men? Banned. Police would literally catch you and cut your hair on the street. Miniskirts? Measured. Police carried rulers to measure how far above the knee your skirt was. But the real battlefield was music. The regime set up ethics committees. 한국예술문화윤리위원회. Sounds fancy, right? Their job was to pre-screen everything. If you wanted to release an album, you had to include at least one wholesome song or 건전가요. These were basically government-mandated pep talks set to music. Imagine if to release a hip-hop album today, you had to include a track about, like paying your taxes on time. But let's look at the band list. This is where it gets ridiculous. The government banned hundreds of songs. Why? Why? Let's go through the dictator's logic. Listen to this. This is Morning Dew, 아침 이슬 by Kim Min-gi. The lyrics are pure poetry. Sorrow stays in my heart like a dewdrop. So why was it banned? Because student activists liked it. They sang it at protests. The government didn't have a legal reason, so they just labeled it as anti-establishment. It was banned for being too inspiring. Next up, Yang Hee-eun's Impossible Love. Can love be fulfilled? It's a breakup song. But the censors said, no, no, this promotes nihilism. It makes people give up. In the park regime, you weren't allowed to be sad about love. You had to be productive. This one is hilarious. It's You, 그건 너 by 이장희. The lyrics go, it's you, it's all because of you. The censors banned it because it deflected the responsibility onto others. But there was a rumor. People whispered that the you in the song sounded a lot like the president. It's all because of you, Mr. President, that my life is hard. So the song was banned. And my personal favorite, a song called Tall Mr. Kim, 기다리 Mr. Kim. It's a happy, silly song. Why ban it? Because President Park Chung-hee was short. I'm not joking. The legend goes that the song offended his height complex. It wasn't just music. It was movies too. The film industry was strangled. The government used a carrot and stick strategy. Here's the stick. You can make movies about poverty, corruption, or social problems. Here's the carrot. If you make enough anti-communist movies, we will give you the license to import the Hollywood blockbusters like Ben-Hur or Sound of Music. So, directors churned out cheap, terrible propaganda films just to earn the quota to import American movies. It was the structural lowering of quality. Then comes 1979. Park Chung-hee is assassinated, a brief spring of soul, and then another coup. Chun Doo-hwan takes power, and he starts his reign with the massacre in Gwangju in 1980. He had a problem. Everyone hated him. He lacked legitimacy. He knew he couldn't only use the iron fist. He needed a distraction. He needed the 3S policy. What these 3S stands for? Sports, screen, and sex. So first, S for sports. In 1982, the government launched the Professional Baseball League, KBO. This was a genius, cynical move. They deliberately set up teams based on regions. Lion versus Tiger, Daegu versus Gwangju. Why? To take all the political anger and regional resentment, especially from the Honam region, that had just been crushed in the massacre and channel it into baseball game. And it worked, but also backfired. Haetae Tigers, the Gwangju team, became a symbol of resistance. When they won, the people of Gwangju felt like they won against the dictator. They just didn't cheer. They sang mourning songs like 목포's Tears, 목포의 눈물 in the stadium. The stadium became a safe space to scream. And as for screen and sex, 1982, the night curfew, 야간 통행 금지, was lifted. For decades, Koreans couldn't be out past midnight. Suddenly, the night was open. And the theaters? They were flooded with erotic films. Movies like Madam Emma, Emma 부인, broke box office records. The government message was, look, we are giving you freedom. You can watch naked people. You can drink until 4 a.m. Just don't look at the blue house. Look at the screen. It was selective debauchery, freedom for the body, prison for the mind. But don't be fooled. While everyone was watching baseball and erotic movies, the control over information was tighter than ever. This brings us to the press guidelines, 보도 지침. Every day, editors received a secret manual from the government. It told them exactly what to write, not just the topic, but the headline size, the page number, and exact words. This created the infamous 땡전 news. 땡 is the sound of a bell chiming, and 전 is the president's last name, 전두환. So picture this. You are sitting in front of your TV. It turns 9 p.m. The time signal goes off. 땡! And literally without a split second of silence, the anchor immediately says, 전두환 대통령 각하께서, President 전두환 says today. It was automatic. It didn't matter if a building collapsed or a war started. The president handshake was always news number one, always. And when bad things happened, they rewrote reality. In 1986, when a police officer sexually tortured a female activist, the Bucheon case, the guidelines explicitly ordered the press, do not use the word sexual harassment, call it sexual insult. Paint the victim as a dangerous revolutionary. But here is the twist. The human mind is stubborn. The 3S policy was supposed to make people stupid and happy. Instead, it just gave them energy. Lifting the curfew, it allowed the students to gather late at night. Allowing movies, it made people hungry for real stories, not just erotica. And band songs, they didn't die. They went underground. They were copied onto illegal cassette tapes. They were whispered in underground universities. Morning Dew came back louder than ever. But the true anthem of this era is the song you are hearing right now, March for the Beloved, 임을 위한 행진곡. It was written for a spirit wedding of 2 activists killed in Gwangju. The government banned it. They hunted it down. You cannot arrest a melody. Every protest, every strike, millions of people learned this song. It became the alternative national anthem. People also turned to madanguk, traditional yard plays. They wore masks, they danced, they improvised, because it wasn't a written script. The censors couldn't pre-approve it. The actors would make jokes about the dictator right there in the market square, and the audience would explode in laughter. Laughter, it turned out, was also a weapon. 1987, the distraction failed. The people took the energy from the stadiums and the streets, and they demanded the real democracy. The June democracy movement wasn't just political. It was a cultural explosion. So what is the legacy of this time? Today, Korea is a cultural superpower. Parasite, Squid Game, BTS, Blackpink. People often ask me, how did this happen? How is Korean culture so dynamic? There isn't just one answer. You could write an entire library of books just trying to explain the rise of K-culture. It's a complex mix of economics, timing, and talent. But I believe that one powerful spark lies in this dark history. Korean creativity wasn't just given freely. It was forged in the fire of resistance. Artists learned to use metaphor, satire, and hidden meanings to survive censorship. The K-culture we enjoy today is, in part, the fruit of that survival. It's the sound of a morning dew that refused to dry up. I really hope this story helps you understand the depth of Korea a little better. And don't let anyone ban your playlist. See you next week. 오늘도 들어주셔서 감사합니다. 다음 주에 만나요.
긴 밤시 새우